Hello friends! Start of a brand new season today with Tromsø for us, and I have big plans over the course of what is going to be essentially a very long window. It's around 5 months that we've kind of got now. Now we had that last time as well, but a lot of the transfers have kind of already put themselves in place. This time we come in with a budget, a little bit of wage budget on top, and a lot of moves that need to be made. As always, if you have been enjoying the series up to this point, drop a like on the video. That would be bloody tremendous. No bush beating, we jump. So, this is the squad analysis. I love the squad depth screen because it does really give you an idea from a sort of graphical standpoint of where you actually lie with the depth of the team. And it has sort of incomings. Well, actually, no incomings, because technically the only transfers that we've got as far as incomings are already here per se. Because Rakic, of course, and not Labros Kois, and Thomas Blatt are already in the house, which kind of solves a lot of our problems in a way. I was very worried when I saw that Labros Kois was very unlikely to rejoin us this season, that we would really struggle. But I think we've almost signed a like-for-like replacement. I still think that Blatt does lack a little bit in some areas compared to Labros Kois, but I do think he's a very strong centre-back. And the key thing is, he's ours. For those of you that missed it potentially, this is he, signed on a free transfer from Midtjylland. 4-star player with he's basically one of the best players at the club straight off the bat, really. And I'm very, very pleased to have him on board. 6'5", good jumping reach, 15 heading as well, which is really nice. Good bravery, decent aggression. I think he's a really, really solid centre-back. So to go from one centre-back who's almost the same to literally from the same club as well, essentially, but to get him permanently as our player, we're also paying less wages on him too. I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer. But I do think that we'll probably not begin to be getting Sasha Angelkovic back for another season. It seems unlikely that Čukarički are going to let that happen. But, of course, with him leaving, it'll also free up a slot that we can easily slot Jesse Rakic in as far as foreign players go, so that way he'll be guaranteed a spot in the team. And I think the midfield is one of our strongest areas across the board, really, be it all three of our midfield positions. We've got a nice plethora of players that can interchange in those roles, and we've only added more, really. Now, as for getting Anderson back, I'd like that to happen, but they're insisting on trying to put a mandatory fee into the contract, and I don't really want that, and they won't let us loan him otherwise, which is really annoying. So we might have to look at that as maybe someone else, but I really want to focus on trying to find some homegrown talent, particularly in the backup goalkeeping area and in the wingbacks. That's the biggest thing. Losing Helgason to Viking was such a kick in the teeth. We've already got Windholm back. We know that. I'm going to try and get him up on a permanent transfer in the summer. He will be starting as our striker this season because he just did well when he was there. And I think I really sold him short when he got that slight injury. Now, we've got a hell of a lot of stuff to get through, but I suspect our first port of call really is just to set up some basic scouting assignments to try and find us some wingbacks. As for the tactical side of things, still not sure if the one we went with at the end of last season is what I want to persist with, but it's kind of, I think, the best. I liked enough about it to make me think that there is something there, provided we get the players in the right roles within it and kind of just go from there. It'd be so cool if you could have a transfer requirement when you're looking at these that allowed you to assess their homegrown status. So you could say homegrown status is homegrown in Norwegian, but all you can do is say based in Norway, which doesn't actually guarantee you anything. I mean, there's also this guy, Alvaro Hernandez, who actually would be a fantastic wingback. The simple problem with him, and he is listed for loan by Djurgården, is that trained in England and Spain. So, I mean, definitely worth keeping an eye on. Also, in incredible news, Viking made it to the cup final for a second consecutive season and actually managed to, well, lose as it was, but they damn near won the cup again. Out of interest, they'd very comfortably won the second tier. So, yeah, Helgason's going to be playing for them next year. I'm jealous, honestly. Managed to get Jovetle Saxton Anderson back because I liked what he did for us in the second half of the season. I saw some good things out of him, and just completing him in as well, I think it was a sensible deal. He does join us permanently at the end of the deal. Managed to get the deal down a little bit. I didn't really want to have to be forced to buy him, but I felt that we just kind of needed to act on someone who'd already done well in our system, and I liked him as a footballer. And just to get these guys tied down, and again, homegrown quota, very important to have. So I liked him anyway. So to bring him back in, it's going to be 150k. Not immediately, though. That's for the future, and I think that's not too bad. It's... I don't know. I think we could have got him for cheaper. Maybe that's not the best deal in the world, but I just wanted to get players in early this time and not be faffing around later. Okay, I think some of these are the reports coming through about some of the guys we just looked at. So I'm going to make sure we get secondary follow-up scout reports on all of them, just in case. They came through very fast. And let us not forget, the club has some fantastic youth prospects, some of which I intend to bring up into the first team this season, because we've got a ton of 5-star players who really should get some more football, and I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch to register them. In fact, I might have a look now. For example, this guy, Jonas Lewestein. He has to be moving up to the first team. If he could just get that heading working, and I am working on aerials, he has to come to the first team now for me. Labros Kois, despite me saying he fell off, did actually win Norwegian Premier Division Player of the Year. So fair one, big old Labros. Even when he wasn't scoring, he still was doing bloody well. Another potentially fruitful area of business for us could be when players are released, and then we go and have a look at the free transfers, try and bring some in on trial just to see who's about, basically, because there's bound to be a ton of players being released, even by the big sides, that we might be able to sneak in and nip a couple of them. Apologies, my face came down at the worst possible moment there while I was negotiating a contract for Tobias Christensen, a Norwegian attacking / central midfielder who, yes, I realise, it's another one of those, but homegrown. I've got him on a contract of 1.3k a week on a free transfer from Vålerenga at the end of the year. I don't think it's the worst piece of business we can do, particularly as it helps with our quota situation as well, which will allow us to free up a bit of money elsewhere potentially as we try to find these wingbacks. That really is the key piece of business for us, is wingbacks. Hopefully he'll sign the deal and no one else steals in. Okay, done. Tobias Christensen will join us on the 9th of January. Nice. I wouldn't mind looking for a secondary striker as well while we're here. If we can find another homegrown guy that fulfills those requirements, then perfect. Our scouts unironically just put this guy, Mattis Rekdal, in here. I'm like, oh, Norwegian, plays for Chelsea, but that's fine. Came through at Molde. He'd count as homegrown. £43,000 a week. Chelsea want us to pay £43,000 a week to loan him, and £500,000 a month. £500,000 a month. I think if I've had a bit more forethought, the better option would have been for us to, instead of signing, Blad was definitely a necessary signing, but instead of signing Rakic, because even though he's really good, it was an area that we already had players in, but I still kind of want him. If I'd have just put that to the side and felt, right, we could maybe find a guy who's 80% as good as him, but is homegrown, then we could have maybe allocated an extra spot to one of the wingbacks where there's a bit more quality from abroad. And that might be a big letdown for us this season, honestly. Okay, so Eskilsson's moved to Starbuck, which we knew was going to happen. But on the plus side, it didn't have... Wait, what? We have... So even if we wanted to rustle up any money, we can't, because 5% of transfer revenue is made available. I could sell a guy for £1 million and we'd get 50k. Yeah, we're only $1 million in debt at the moment as well, but which is seemingly about normal for this club over this sort of period, but there you go. Minimum guaranteed budget next year is nothing, which is always good. Oh, dearie me. I've done an absolute silly. Because there's a large amount of staff wages that tend to be constantly having to be renewed every single year, I let my DOF handle it. I was just looking through the amounts that he's offered. Most of them solid, kind of 1.2k, standard sort of staff wages that are still too much for what they should be for this league, but that's just the game, unfortunately, this year. But then I just noticed that my assistant's just given our loan manager a contract on 3.6k a week. Does he have, like, dirt on our assistant or something? Not the assistant, the DOF. Our loan manager earns more than I do. He's earning nearly twice as much as any player. Why is this club in debt? I just don't understand it. Now, I do realise, of course, it is dangerous to let your DOF handle individual staff contracts, but there's so many staff, sometimes it just takes a little while and is usually quite tedious. Generally speaking, at the most, they usually give them a tiny little salary bump, which is why it's fine. And that's what he's done for every other member of staff. Most of them, some of them are even on lower contracts now, which is cool, which is why it's usually okay. Except this fella. And the thing is, you say, do you even need a loan manager? Absolutely not. I didn't hire this guy. He was here when we got here. It's one of the few guys that were holdovers. Nordsjælland have put a bid in on the guy from Djurgården for 100 grand. I think we kind of have to. And then we'll have to just figure it out, right? He's too good a player to not try to sign. I think he'll join them anyway. He's even got an okay right foot to the point where I could possibly retrain him to play on both sides. I've bid 200k straight up front. We've got the money. I know that will trump Nordsjælland's their offer potentially. So hopefully we can just get them on that. If I can actually get him on 1.8k a week, steal him out from... We'll figure it out afterwards, but I need a wingback, and he is a wingback. So Tobias Christensen's joined us. And I tell you what, he's actually really good. I took a punt on him. But on a free transfer, on 1.3k a week, I think Tobias Christensen is a good signing, and I'm happy with him. He can kind of do all of our jobs in that midfield. Okay, we would never play him as the attacking one, but he's got good on both feet as well, which is good, because it means he can play on the left or through the middle if Anderson's injured. Now, I kind of regret the Anderson signing a little bit there, but he's good, and I'm happy he's here. Okay, Nordsjælland have upped their bid for Alvaro Fernandez, and you know he'll choose them. They're Nordsjælland, we're Tromsø. We know where this is going. The only thing we may have on our side is that our bid is 200k up front, and theirs isn't. Okay, just wrapping up a loan signing of a goalkeeper, Amon Vichne from Ranheim, just to give us a bit of backup, £500 a week just to get him in. Homegrown, he looks okay. Give him cup goalkeeper playing time. That should be okay for us for now, because then we'll have our second keeper as well. And then that's taken care of. Kind of weird that I'm not allowed to change my transfer bid on him, which is odd. Usually you can, right? Desperately wants to join Tromsø. That's good news. The board have just cancelled 5 affiliate club agreements, otherwise known as all of them. Bodder have now upped their bid for him. How do I cancel it and up it like that? Are you joking? Failed efforts to sign him? He never said no. I was unable to change the amount we were offering him without cancelling the transfer. I then did that and went back in without ever actually affecting the contract because we had agreed that it was all done. And now he won't talk to us because of that. Oh my God. I'm sure there was just a button I was missing, but I can't for the life of me figure out what button it would have been when everything was locked in and I had no way of changing it as far as I could tell, because there was no change transfer offer button. There was a change contract offer button, but not the change transfer offer button. And in the end, he has joined Nordic, which I expected would have happened in the first place anyway. On a lower fee, we were offering £250,000 and he's accepted that. Except, of course, we didn't even get the opportunity. But look at the wage. Like, he would have never come to us. Hilariously, Shaw Gordon actually have another guy who's a wingback. Daniel Vazquez, who I'm fairly certain I looked at before once. Okay, well, they've accepted it. Regular starter. We'll see. I've also found this guy, Nicholas Dier. But again, Danish. I don't know what we could really do with him at the squad, sadly. Although, I don't know anymore. He's quite good. Not the best tackling, but the crossing and dribbling could be excellent. The only other thing I could think about is maybe moving on someone like Bubu Conte, because I feel like he's going to get less game time this year, because I don't think he really suited our style in that. He had some okay games where he'd score, but I don't think he was consistent enough. Let's just see who we've got registered, actually. Like, of the foreign players, who could I get rid of? Blad has to be there. Gomez, of course. Mojic's the keeper. Helborg's a DM. That's fine. Grönbeck's important. There's Conte and Bernardsson. Conte and Bernardsson. If I was to get, for example, Dira, who would fit into the role that Bernardsson would play anyway, and Bubu Conte, despite him being really good, there's potential for a big sale, maybe, and sort out the debt on someone like Bubu Conte, because I think other players slot into that role quite nicely as well. Okay, first things first. Daniel Vazquez is in. Now, I realise that, ignoring the star ability for a second, I think he's a solid option in that right spot, in that right wing-back spot, and I think he'll do a good replacement for Helgason in that role. So we've got him in, which means I can remove Bernardsson from the squad. I think I might be tempted to go after the Danish guy, Dira. That way, we'll have good wing-backs in both positions, and I can shuffle the squad around to accommodate these new lads, because I feel like they're more important to us right now. And surely, someone like Nicholas Dier, if he's cheap enough and he's not too dear, which could be the case, would be worthwhile moving on someone like Conte to allow us to facilitate and have better wing-backs. One thing I've been thinking about as well is maybe switching this around a little bit and actually having a central midfielder on attack here and maybe leaving this side on support with an attacking playmaker there, so it just varies the system up a little bit, but we still have some good attacking threat, and I just wonder if that could work better. Get late runners maybe arriving in the box. Unsure of what to make of it currently, but it's just an idea to maybe move into. Interesting. Just tried that new tactical style out in a friendly, and we did look a lot better. I know they're obviously low quality opposition, but we were winning our most recent friendlies like 3 and 4-1 against the same quality of sides. I'll make the slight switch, and now it could be just because it's more aggressive, but we did look quite good there. 8-0. He's actually come out quite well. Considering the crossing could have been very low, it's actually 10 and 11. The tackling is a concern. Make no mistake. He's got some okay mentals. And he's now wanted by someone, and that's my concern. Who is it? Silkeborg in Denmark. Important player. Vice captain, absolutely. Oh my lord, look at the wages. $5,000 a week. That might have been a mistake. I might have just left him higher because he probably would be an important player. You know what? I'm actually going to offer him an important player. I wouldn't normally do that, but if we've got a war, that's just too much. That's just too much. I don't think I can really do that. Relegation release goals, I can put that at 0. I can offer 3.4. And he'd still be on less money than the loan manager. Okay, he actually went for it because I put a match highest earner clause in because he is by comfortable margins the highest earner at the club. Now, that could bite me later, and you know how much I hate that clause, but if it allows us to get this deal done before Silkeborg comes swirling and we can move things around a little bit, I think this might be our play. Speaking of being pleased with things, it's a youth intake. And do you know what, friends? I'm a little bit... We got a Sri Lankan... Okay, that's a side issue here. I'm a little bit wishing we didn't spend money on bringing in that goalkeeper because this guy's just come through our youth academy. This is Matthias Johansson. He's 50. Look. Okay. He's 15 years old and he has 3-star current ability in our squad at 15. He's already good enough to be our backup goalkeeper in the Elite Syrian. This is insane. I mean, future Norwegian international maybe? Matthias Johansson. Welcome aboard. Right, immediately off a contract. And let's not forget, Steinberg Johansson as well. Hang on, are they brothers? No, Matt, they're just 2 men with the surname Johansson. My headcanon, they're brothers. Who's also a very good prospect, really. Not on the same level, but still, solid prospect. He's considered, like, in the top 10 players at the club on current ability-wise already. And he's 15 years old. Honestly, I'm okay with that. I know it's a lot of money. But I felt that we needed a player in that position. I feel like Nicholas Dier could be that man for us, and we've actually really strengthened our wing-back spots. Now, it's really just a case of trying to sort the Bubu Conte situation out, but Bugger me. So it turns out because this is an international tournament year, the league starts much earlier than last year, like a full month. So we've got a lot less time in which to work. Now, of course, that doesn't mean the window shuts any earlier. It just means that our first league game is in like, well, 6 days. And I still haven't managed to find a way to get rid of Boo Boo Conte. I've done everything I can. He's now happy to leave without any problems, which is what I wanted. There are clubs interested. The problem is, none of them will put any bids in, and there's major interest from multiple sides. I just need someone. We've been willing to pay a bit of his wages just because I don't want to upset the whole squad, but we need to make this work, and I'm hoping someone will step in soon. Hang on, aren't prepared to meet the asking price. The asking price is unspecified. I think we can still get this going. I just need to make the right moves. I think it's because I have my assistant still doing stuff, and I suspect that he was turning down bids for some reason. No offers. Hang on. I don't understand this. Aren't prepared to meet the asking price. The asking price is nothing. There is no asking price. They're only willing to pay 500k. Then please offer me 500k. Now they're offering. And that was so strange. I think what it was that it was something to do with the assistant thing. Even though his asking price was unspecified, it's like, even though I told my assistant to stop doing it, I'll handle it. It's like they were still automatically rejecting bids in the background. But these ones don't have any wage contributions in them. The board are not going to let me sell him for less than 1.3 million. But no one's going to bid 1.3 million, the board. I've accepted these bids again. Hopefully, I can talk to the board. The board's position is non-negotiable. We feel certain they're bringing a greater transfer fee. To who? Who is bidding 1.3 million for him then? Sell him to them then. He should command a bigger fee. Well, basically, no team is going to bid more than £300,000 for the player, which is, you know, the value of the player, because a player is only worth as much as a team is willing to pay for them. Now, of course, realize that he's, to them, a valuable asset, but I'm not going to play him because we've got better players in those roles now. He's not even going to be in the squad, and they won't let me sell him for any kind of money. What about loan? Watch the board block the loan deal because, I don't know, some alien came down from the atmosphere and told them it was a bad idea. Regardless, though, it's the first day of the season. We're away at newly promoted Viking, which means you know what's going to happen. Helgeson is going to score or assist against us in this match, isn't he? But I feel like we've come back stronger this year. I think the team is in a better spot. I've got players that I wanted. Still haven't managed to sort out the signing of that other striker yet, potentially on a loan. I'm looking at a guy from Brann, actually, called Orne Hegerber, but we'll see. There's a few other youngsters as well at odds and start that I'm potentially interested in bringing in on a loan, just to give us a little bit more depth in the strike roles, should we get some injuries, which you know we will. So we need to make sure that we've got cover for those roles. I mean, I would say worst case scenario, go back for Sasha Angelkovic, but I think that ship might have sailed. But needless to say, let's see how we're going to line up for today. Now, I've been playing a lot of the same squad. Oh god, Hellbug's injured. He's suspended, isn't he? Brilliant. For the matches to lead up. That way we've got full match fitness for basically our full starting 11, which is what I wanted. I was hoping it would build some links. It didn't quite manage to do that, but that's fine. Let's just get rid of all the players that can't actually feature in this game, and then have a little look-see at what my assistant wants to do. Lots of changes in the back line. He wants to bring Grönbeck in. Well, he might have to, honestly. Then Tobias Christensen there. That's actually not too bad. For some reason, he's obsessed with putting Indistad as the advanced forward, despite the fact that he can't finish. Don't understand that, particularly as I swear he's right-footed. He's not, actually. They're both left-footed, in fairness, but there's no way he's playing in that position. So I think it is going to be Grönbeck to the right, and then, without a problem there, I guess Christensen in on the left-hand side to there. I wish I'd been able to play him more. But then Dida and Vasquez is fine. I'm tempted to start Lewerstein here for today. But it's a toss-up, really, between him and Solskjaer at the moment. But he's just got a higher fitness level currently. Although they're both relatively much of a muchness, with Blad on the right, Gomez through the middle, and Roll. So yeah, Dida, Vasquez, Christensen, and Rakic, new boys in there as well. Blad coming into. I think the squad looks better. Now, as for how this is going to work tactically this season, you'll notice that I have switched things around a little bit with the. But I don't know, it just seemed to look good for us, and I wonder how Christensen could do from deep there. We'll just have to see. Still willing to make changes. I've heard lots of good things about CMs on attack this season, and I've wanted to try one out with this system, but I don't know how effective it's going to be. But I did feel like we kind of needed to have a bit of support around him if we're going to have this guy making mazy runs into the area, particularly for counter-attacks on the other side of things. It's a good game to have as our starter. Like, they were good last season, and they got to the cup final, of course, for the second consecutive season, but they are at least a newly promoted side. So you'd like to think that we can come here and actually impose ourselves in this game. Vasquez straight in there. Vasquez down this right. He's our ultimate replacement. We'll see how Dida does. Vasquez is ball in straight off the bat there. Nice. Rakic will pick this up, the Australian. We've got big hope for him this season too, with two playmakers in the team almost. Christensen to Windholm. Oh, there was a run. And the ball's through for Windholm straight away. And we already have the lead. After just 4 minutes, Jacob Windholm gives Tromsø the lead away at Viking. And that is the start to the season that we needed. Dida to Rakic. Haven't seen much of Dida just yet. What a ball. What a ball. That is an insane cross from Jesse Rakic, and Michael Indistad makes it 2-0 after 12 minutes. That ball in from Rakic was absolutely beautiful. Holy God. What a fit. What a cross. Just Bets it back on his right foot and puts an absolutely inch-perfect cross onto the head of Michael Indistad. That is so good. Rakic again. Nice intricate passing on the edge of the box, and now Dira's been freed up on this left-hand side. Still only on support, remember. Pulls it back for Christensen. Loads of options. Indistad off the crossbar. It definitely should have been 3-0 there. Rakic. He's got such good composure. Christensen! Saved again. I'm happy with this. Christensen's ball. Gomez! Crossbar. Gets past his man, whips it in, and Windholm. Good save. She needs to be careful in these situations, and mopped up by Gomez. And we go again. Rakic. Indistad. Runners left and right. Might go alone. He's in. That's fine. Just holds the ball up. Back inside for Dira! And it's cleared. Back again. Dira! Rakic saved! Holy God. That might be the best first half I've seen out of this team, or any team, actually, at any point during this save. We could have had more, but 2 is fine. Oh, cut out by Christensen. Can he slip his man through? Might have to go alone. Finds Windholm. Good block again. Gomez has done an excellent job as well. Rakic. But there's so much space again. Christensen into the gap. Finds Windholm. This time he must finish. Oh, he's missed the target horribly. There's no way it will be like this in every game. But it does just feel like everybody has their little sector of the pitch where they can operate in, and they won't be bothered by someone on the same team. There's always gaps. Windholm through again. This time goes round, and it's another big save from Bolan. I feel like a gold prospector that's just absolutely smashed his axe against a giant piece of... Oh, are you joking? Vicente makes it Viking 1, Tromsø 2, and after all that, they've somehow managed to still score with their first real opportunity of the match. Antonsson could put this on the head of Blad. There's a lot of space for him, and it's over the bar. Playing like that. Now, that's still very presumptuous, I'm sure. But there we go. Viking 1, Tromsø 2, opening day victory against a really good side that perhaps were a little bit unfortunate to even be in that division last season. Dominant win. Still managed to concede a goal out of nothing, but that's just life, apparently. Nevertheless, really happy with that. Windholm and Indistad could have had hat-tricks each in this match. They had the opportunities all over the shop. Even in the second half, we still did tail off a little bit, but there were chances there. You saw them going clean through on goal multiple times again. And the thing is, last season, we simply weren't doing that. Not to the same extent. We were going through on goal from time to time, but today, there was just both Indistad and Windholm were getting in behind, which is surprising. So we start 6th there. It's not ideal, but I would like to have won by more goals, if I'm honest. But it's an away win to start things off against the newly promoted side, who I suspect this year will end up finishing probably in the top 10 anyway. I really don't think they're that bad at all. So we'll take that, and I'm pleased with what I'm seeing on the pitch, definitely. As next up, we play against Bodø. I mean, we've got 3 straight wins against them. They're one of the favourites this year, hilariously. So there's that. So anyway, if you've enjoyed this episode, I know it's been quite a long one, but there's been a lot happening here. Drop a like. That would be fantastic. I will, yeah, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. I stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. This is going to be a fun season. I think we're going to have a lot of interesting results and probably some frustration at times, but that's what Football Manager is all about. And I'll see you guys soon. Hold your gun. Capybara. Bye-bye.